Sorry, Kurt. Good afternoon. This is the Board of Standards and Appeals Public Review Session for October 6, 2020, the 2 p.m. session. There is no public testimony during the review session. Please do not call in. The first item to be reviewed is Appeals Calendar, New Cases, number 25, 2020, 46A, 12-14 East 48th Street, Manhattan. This is a common law vesting application.
Okay, and I would like to just, because we had problems earlier today with people not understanding the technical approaches on these Zoom calls / YouTube hearings. This is a review session. We're going to be discussing for some time the applications of the afternoon. You should not, as a member of the public or an applicant, be calling into the Zoom call until on the YouTube video you hear your case announced, because we've been having trouble with people calling into the Zoom and then they can't speak and so on. Turn off the Zoom and only watch us on YouTube. And when you hear your case called during the hearing, then dial in or Zoom into the correct data that's provided on the calendar. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No, not sorry. I just need to make sure that everyone knows that they should only be watching us on YouTube. They should not be in the Zoom WebEx here until we ask them to call in. So we have proof of service of application materials to officials. There is no initial submission or hearing notice requirement for an application to renew a building permit associated with vesting rights applications that were previously granted by this board under Rule 106.4 and 106.5. Community Board provided a very detailed recommendation to approve that went carefully through all of the issues, and I dare say the findings. It was an impressive recommendation. The applicant rightly asks that we take, quote, judicial notice of the submissions and proofs made to the board's December 10th, 2019 finding of statutory vesting under section 81-621 for application 2019-270 BZY. In that event, and so I would ask council and the project manager, who is Tony Matias, the record materials from that 2019-270 BZY case should be duplicated and put into this folder in order for us to take judicial notice. In other words, carry forward that material into the folder in case there was any interest on the part of any of the commissioners to see what the proofs were previously, but also because it's in the record, it should be in this folder as well. So it's a duplicate of that folder put into this folder. That's what judicial notice would effectively do, right?
Okay, I thought I did, but okay. Sorry.
No, it wasn't there, so that's why I maybe it wasn't understood. It's just copy paste and put that folder inside and make clear that it's a separate folder. So keep it in the 2019 folder.
Okay.
There is a requisition for payment dated. So it's an AIA contract requisition document G702. That's a requisition for payment dated December 4th, 2019, and one dated January 31st, 2020, which describes approximately $3 million in additional costs incurred between 12/10/19 vesting grant and the end of January. So right there, you can see that work was done and another $3 million spent, bringing the total expenditures, I believe, to $53.6 million at the end of January. And then there were stop work because of COVID and so on. So even if we were just looking at that, I always use the requisitions of payment for my guide, because those are real invoices given to from the contractor to the owner and then given to the banks or the lenders for funding. For me, I had no issues with this. We obviously had made a finding of vesting under the statute, and it more than satisfies the standards for common law vesting, and would be frankly unjust if we were to have allowed statutory vesting to get up to $50 million, but not allow common law vesting to get up to $53 million or another 3 million. So I'm okay with this application. Vice Chair Shanda?
Likewise, I'm also okay with this application, and it meets all the elements of the common law vesting. I have no additional comments.
Okay. And Commissioner Otley Brown?
Agreed with both of you. I have no additional comments.
And Commissioner Shetta?
I agree, and I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
And Commissioner Chevetto?
I agree and have no further comments. I believe
Okay.
this is,
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, move on?
Yeah.
Zoning calendar, item 2018-137BZ 25177 Jericho Turnpike, Queens.
Okay. Sorry, lots of notes on this. I thought it was incredibly helpful to have the list of revisions keyed to the clouds on the drawings. I think we should make this a standard requirement. We talked about this the last time because we had these revisions keyed to a revision list keyed to clouds. And so I would just like to point out to staff that I would like us to discuss an administrative notice to require that going forward of all of the drawing revisions. And if okay with this project architect, so if the project architect is actually present during the hearing, I'd like to ask the project architect's permission to use a page of these drawings and one of the sheets of the changes as a model. So that way make it very clear to applicants and attach it to the administrative notice. I can see that a lot of effort was made with striping and signage to clarify the confusion that may occur in the garage with respect to access to the elevators. The plan is still very awkward, but at least there is a wayfinding and security program to attempt to compensate for it. So I don't know whether we still have open fire department. So at the last hearing, I asked, fire department had on August 6, 2019, submitted a letter objecting to daycare on the roof and to the daycare egress condition. And I said also that their January 28 letter of no objection refers only to the parking stacker review. So I don't know if we had the sign off on the daycare. I see Gjela's hand up. So, and the plans continue to show daycare on the roof. That's where I wanted to know whether there was a sign off on that. And I did see that we got from DOT a sign off. And in addition to which we have a letter from the applicant of commitment, committing to conduct a transportation monitoring program and to provide the data to DOT. So DOT provided a letter to us stating that there needs to be this transportation monitoring program for 2 specific locations, Jericho Turnpike and Little Neck Parkway, and Little Neck and 87th Drive. So I would like our council to note that all of the requirements in that transportation monitoring program letter from DOT should be incorporated as a condition into our approval or into our resolution. Okay. And Gjela has her hand up. So first we'll go to Gjela because it may be about what I just said.
Hi, yes, it's about the FDNY. So the letter from January 28th, 2020, I sent John an email requesting clarification on September 1st, 2020, asking if the letter of no objection is for the entire project. And he said the letter can be used for the entire project. I forwarded that to Vice Chair Chanda, so, and you just now, but she can verify it too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm confirming that I saw the letter.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So Commissioner Shanda, go ahead with your comment.
No, I think my two questions were related to FDNY and DOT, and we have the sign off, so I have no additional comments.
Okay, great. Commissioner Otley Brown?
No additional comments.
Okay. Commissioner Cheta?
Okay with the application. I have no comments.
Okay. And Commissioner Shabeta?
Nothing further from me, Chair.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. So all the secret requirements have been met. I would just like, because we didn't do this before, to have several notes on the plans regarding the DOT commitment and the remedial closure report.
Okay. So the DOT notes should be the commitment for the transportation monitoring.
Yeah,
Right.
we have some standard language that I can give. I don't have it right now, but
Okay.
it usually refers to everything that's mentioned in the EAS as well as the commitment letter.
Okay. Great. All right. Need you.
Just, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Just question, Tracy, was a final EAS submitted?
Yes, yes,
Thank
that's what DOT signed off on.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'll check it for all other sign-offs, but it was updated as of today, I believe, or yesterday. So
Right.
Thank you.
So, okay, so it would be notes added and then all the drawings that are with the notes added, then incorporated into the EAS?
yeah, we could do that as well.
Okay. And Gjela still has her hand up unless I forgot to bring it down. Did you have another question or statement?
No, sorry, I forgot to put it down.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, I skipped everybody else. No, I went through everybody. Okay, so any other comments, last minute, anything? No.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
John, yeah.
Can John talk now? He has to do it at hearing.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it at hearing, so sorry. Otherwise I'll get yelled at.
Sorry, John.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead.
Item number 27, 2019-15 BZ 79-40 Cooper Avenue, Queens.
Mhm. Scrolling, so many notes on this. Okay. The landscaping plan is provided. Refrigerated trash units are described more clearly on the plans. Kind of amusingly, a huge amount of data was provided to support the provision of these two refrigerated trash units. We actually had only asked the applicant to use the standard formula to calculate the storage requirement. An application heard earlier today, I believe, provided those calculations. We didn't need to learn about the history of trash production in America from this. But anyway, but I think all of my comments were addressed. Plan to revise to respond to DOT comments. And I think we just got DOT sign off. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And plans show DEP required notes.
Yes, all the notes are there for this application.
Okay. And but there's an odd note on the roof plan at the playground area with respect to the fence that I think is incorrect and should be either corrected or removed. It says the fence to which the arrow on that roof plan points is not less than 14 feet away from the property line to allow for mechanical equipment to be placed there. But the note says, quote, "The fence shall be 2 feet away from the property line." So they should either get rid of that note or say that the fence shall comply with section whatever of the fire code or the building code. And because obviously at 14 feet away, it's more than 2 feet from the property line. So that's a very confusing note. And they should show the actual dimension. It's not dimensioned. I was just sort of guessing based on, there's a 7-foot measurement to something. I'm not even sure to what. And it's approximately double that to the fence. And I think those were my comments. So Vice Chair Shonda.
No, I have no additional comments. The applicant was responsive to all the questions we had raised, and they also went through quite a detailed analysis of the stroller storage and other things. So I'm fine with this application.
Okay, Commissioner Brown.
No additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sheta.
I'm okay with the application.
Okay, and Commissioner Shibeta.
I too am okay with the application.
Okay,
Next item is 2019-191BZ, 1485 East 21st Street, Brooklyn.
yeah. Okay, the cover letter explains very clearly the status of construction and the scope of the proposal relative to it. Though it is already in the record, I would like our council to note it in the resolution, and I'm going to read it here so council knows exactly what I'm referring to. It says, with respect to the construction at the site, as explained by the architect at the hearing, the homeowners filed an alteration application at the Department of Buildings to enlarge the home as of right and began construction. During construction, they decided to pursue a special permit and stopped all work. As the work has not been completed, the existing plans filed with this special permit application reflect the conditions prior to any construction. The proposed plans incorporate the changes on the as of right approved plans and provide for additional work. For the record, the construction that was started at the site did not impact the walls that are proposed to be maintained in this application. I think it's a well-written statement and could be used in the resolution to clarify any doubts sort of. A rear yard study was provided as requested because it's standard when we're asking for a rear yard reduction or when that's being asked for. And it shows that the extremely minimal proposed imposition on the required rear yard is in character with the tax block and the immediate neighbors. I thought this was a very good application and project, and it's extreme. And as I said at the last hearing, extremely respectful of the neighbors. And not greedy like we often see on these applications. So Vice Chair Shanda.
No, I am very satisfied with this project and I'm fine.
Okay, Commissioner Otley Brown.
I'm fine with this project as well.
Commissioner Sheta.
I agree that the application was very good and the documents were well written. I have no further comments.
Okay, Commissioner Shibeta.
I'm satisfied with this project, Chair.
Okay.
Next item, new case, item number 29, 2020-18BZ, 920 Shore Boulevard, Brooklyn.
Okay, I note that we got a lot of submissions on this like a few minutes ago that none of us could read, right? Had time to read because we got them maybe exactly at 2 o'clock. I just happened to look at my email at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, she sent, it's a 3D rendering. I think she wants to, I sent it to Kurt because I think she wants to do a PowerPoint or
Whatever,
something.
you can't send us stuff at 2
I
p.m.
know.
on the day of the hearing, which is a day after the first hearing. Never mind.
I know, but
One thing that was, yeah, I see Daryl's hand up. Just one thing, let me just get to it. One thing that was necessary, the community board did send in their report, which we didn't have yet. That is important, and thank you, Daryl, for following up with that. It says, we regret, this is the community, Manhattan Beach Community Group. Maybe that's different.
that's Judy Barron, probably.
Okay, so, and they, if you'll remember on this case, they were strongly opposed or strongly vigilant on this case. And I'm kind of sorry they hadn't gotten their submission in earlier for us to review, but I'm just going to review it, read it out loud. We regret not being able to attend the hearing in person via the web. It was just last week prior to a community board meeting that we were able to view the proposed plans for 920 Shore Boulevard. And true to the community board's prior practice, there was a limited time for questions and responses as they relate to the many concerns we have voiced in the past regarding the original proposal for a BSA special permit at this location. To begin with, this request for a new special permit is highly questionable since this is the second attempt to gain a special permit at this location by the same owner who tore down the original building without notice to the BSA or anyone else. On the Department of Buildings site, website, one can easily find a complaint from a neighbor with respect to demolishing a building without a permit, in fact, with no permits. A glance at the DOB site, permits not conforming to original plans, and many more. Why is this so? Perhaps to hide the fact that the original home is no longer there, or to build a new building well beyond the parameters that would ordinarily be allowed in an R31 zoning district. Even more complexing is the story of how the BSA discovered that the original home was demolished and that nothing remained on the site. Why no notice to the BSA? What would have happened had the BSA commissioner not noticed the bare site? It is noteworthy here that the response from the attorney for this project upon being asked at the community board meeting last week to discuss what happened to the original home and why it was not reported to the BSA, he stated that the original home fell down since a construction vehicle hit it. That's a new one. Okay. And worse indeed, a chuckle. Okay, and let's see. It goes on really a lot. We cannot understand how or why the Department of Buildings issued a quote alteration permit to the current building. It does not quote alter anything. Nothing was on the property. It appears to us that when nothing is on a lot and one determines to build something, it is a new structure and in no way can be called an alteration. Further, we have grave concerns about the actions taken by the owner of 920 Shore Boulevard as it relates to the BSA rescinding the special permit and this second attempt to ask BSA for a second bite of the apple. What kind of precedent does this set? Any new homeowner deciding it is too costly to preserve all the floors and walls demanded by the BSA in a special permit can just tear the building down. No inspections from DOB or BSA. Just let a construction vehicle hit the building. If granted, the board will have a new precedent for all to know that there will never be a need to preserve or use any portion of a pre-existing building. There was some testimony at the community board suggesting that the new home, our term, is exactly the same as the one given a special permit by the BSA. We did not see plans and times to suggest that this is not the case. However, there was some discussion relative to a quote yellow line surrounding another portion of the property that extended something. It was not clear. We could not ask questions. It goes without saying there was an old building in the original plan and it is gone now. So this new structure is without question a new building. We do not believe that someone should be rewarded when they clearly have been working without permits, somehow got a truck to demolish a building, forgot to put up permits and more. We leave it to the judgment of the board to find out a way in which this second purposeful attempt to build on the magnificent property can be adjudicated without setting a new precedent. Respectfully, Judith Barron, President. Okay, so I actually had thought that that was from the community board, which is why I jumped in, but I thought it was very helpful because it gives us community board information. I want to just go back that we do have proof of service of initial application to officials and proof of notice of hearing to officials and neighbors. We have a letter in support from Councilmember Deutsch. We have 8 letters from neighbors in support. And Daryl, did you have anything more from the community board? They were supposed to have a hearing on 9/22.
I didn't receive anything from the community board further.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, can you maybe while this is going on, while the other hearings are going on, reach out to the community board and see if you can get their recommendation because they've already had like 10 days to write or more than 10 days to write their resolution.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. So just to kind of step back, because actually Ms. Barron sort of captured the essence of my feeling. I am guessing that a few board members will be surprised by this application, and some may wonder how this applicant has the gall to come back to this board seeking to effectively reinstate a special permit that was revoked because of failure to comply with the most critical condition in the board's approval, which is not to demolish the building during construction. as briefly stated in the statement of facts, if not for the vigilance of one of our commissioners, thank you, Commissioner Brown, who just happened to drive by this site during construction and to witness the demolition of the entire structure firsthand, the applicant would have no doubt, without an iota of doubt, continued as if nothing had happened, knowing full well that demolition would void the permit. If hands had been clean, the applicant would have alerted BSA that field conditions presented problems and would have come back to the board for solutions. It did none of that. Instead, the board held a compliance hearing and revoked the permit on June 11th, 2019. And further, during the review of this case initially, the proposal had been to effectively demolish all of the walls, save little bits here and there. And the board said, no, you have to keep more of the existing house. And we sent the applicant away to redesign it to save more. In addition, the community, which includes the Manhattan Community Association that Ms. Barron is head of. In addition, the community opposed this project because it would not properly comply with Appendix G of 2014 as a substantial improvement, since it claimed to be demolishing less than it actually would and ultimately did. So everyone's suspicions about this project were founded, super well founded, proven out, etc. I'm going to read from my testimony at the 2017 hearings. So, you know, the deja vu all over again thing. This is an enormous house, and the so-called retention of the existing building seems to be an impediment to the total demolition that is more likely to occur to subsume the original house within the much larger outlines of the new. That, in addition to everything else, has to be lifted by more than 3 feet to comply with Appendix G. Not to mention the extremely awkward spaces that result from insistence on retention of existing walls and closets and the like. It is pretty clear to me that once construction begins, those funny walk-in closets will disappear from the plans to reveal regularly shaped rooms, and hallways will no longer have to suffer diagonal walls piercing through them. So that's what we were dealing with when we told the applicant, no, you have to retain a believable amount of the building, and they went back to redesign. And then I read the notes from then Commissioner Hinkson's comments. She said she was dubious about the stability of the existing building and being able to keep the foundations. And the building, we were alerted by the community, the building was red tagged after Hurricane Sandy. And she says, if red tagged, it is probably 1 step from demolition. So we need an engineering report. And on top of that, it will be lifted. It's not logical. Have a work without a permit violation that is recent. What is that? So out of scale with the rest of the neighborhood, really big, go back to the drawing board. So that's what we struggled with in 2017. And then all of our suspicions were borne out. On top of that, the so-called DOB approved drawings that had to be modified to reflect the board's revocation depict the existing building being retained and enlarged and title the plans, quote, BSA and zoning. So that's a complete misrepresentation of what the plans are to a different agency. BSA by that point had nothing to do with the July 11, 2019 plans. We had rescinded the permit. And did those plans comply with Appendix G for new construction? Given the history, I doubt it. I'm guessing not. So I can only ask now, by what right the applicant believes it is entitled to a redo, a do-over, reconsideration after flagrant ignorance, disregard, and disdain for this board's conditions, authority, and discretion, and if after this board held a hearing to void the originally granted special permit. The condition against demolition is intended to be a deterrence, and a revocation is punishment for noncompliance. It is not an invitation to come back for more. And how can the FAR and floor area information on the BSA zoning sheet be as wrong as it is? So I even looked at that and I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I think the whole application is just simply insulting, and I would just close the hearing and deny it. Okay, so Vice Chair Shanda.
Where do I start? Okay. I call this project a PPP project, purposefully poorly planned new construction. The application, the way the application has been handled from 2017 to present will have implications and will set wrong precedents and misuse of the special permit. The intent of the special permit was to allow enlargement of older homes that needed to be upgraded, modernized, and allowed for minor enlargements, not a complete new construction. It is disturbing and it is a manipulation of the regulation and it is contrary to the intent of the special permit. In 2017, the board had strong reservation in approving the application. As Madam Chair, you stated out all the reasons. And since then, the applicant chose to tear the prior building down completely and build from scratch a new construction. The application therefore requires a new approach to the review, if at all, and does not have to be held to the layout as approved by the prior board in 2017. I cannot imagine such a PPP new construction plan. I mean, no architect in its right mind will submit such a new construction plan to a client for approval, where you build a luxury housing with enormously large bedrooms, 3 bedrooms with only 1 bathroom to be shared by all 3 bedrooms. I mean, I'm amazed that an architect will submit such a plan in reality, if there was a reality like that, and for client to accept it. So this has all been done. Every step of the plan has been done to ensure that they will be able to come back to us and say, hey, you approved this massing, you approved this layout, so please approve this. We're like the DOB approved the covered roof area. So the bulk form is all there. We're just going to put the glasses around it and cover it up, and that's it. It will appear the same. So when you're talking about neighborhood context and the built environment, DOB has already approved the built form.
DOB has already.
DOB has approved the built form. So how does it matter whether it's open to air or it's enclosed? And I do have a problem with it. And I think the plan right now, as it stands, the footprint is pretty generous and they can accommodate all their needed space within that.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Ollie Brown?
Oh, I'm in agreement with everything that's been said. I'm actually now thumbing through the photos that I had taken when I went, and it's clear that there was no alt 1. This is definitely a new building that was going up. And as such, it should, at the very least, show compliance with Appendix G.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, you're frozen.
Because it's
You're
brand
frozen.
new. I think.
Say it, I'm sorry, say
Can
that
you-
one more time. You froze out at Appendix G.
Oh, I said it's a brand new building. From what I can see, I don't see any part of the old structure. Everything is concrete, brand new. So at the very least, it should show its compliance with Appendix G, because it's a brand new structure built under new flood regulations. And I think if we were ever going to consider this, it should have been signed off by DOB as an as-of-right project that's absolutely complete. And then they come to us and then they say they want to enlarge it using the special permit. At that point, we can analyze what of the new original walls are going to be retained and whether or not we think they're retaining enough of this new structure and whether or not it fits the character of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we should be doing anything at this point while the property is still in construction.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. I want to start with thanking Commissioner Ollie Brown for being vigilant, and that's how we should be, all of us. This application is kind of like remind me with the say that cheat me once, shame on you, cheat me twice, shame on me. So that's what I can say about this application. And yes, I agree that if we gonna do anything on that kind of project, we have to go to DOB, obtain a permit for an as-of-right building, and then we can look, after the construction is done, we can look into any possible grant. Before that, I'm not in favor of looking at this anymore. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Shabet, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I think I'm hearing that all of the board members agree that this is not appropriate for 7362 or 622. So I don't believe that. I think this could be a close and vote today. I think as on a prima facie. I don't think that we should give it much more thought because we all agree on that as a matter of the law of this case. So I think that should be what's addressed, as opposed to going into a very long-winded discussion about why and what happened. It's the facts that are before us are agreed. This is according to their own submission, what we see, and the evidence provided by Commissioner Otley Brown. I think that suffices.
Yes. Okay. Agreed. We could certainly close and in deference to counsel on these kinds of cases, we put the vote on for the next hearing.
I always want to show extreme deference to counsel.
Yeah, to our counsel, because the poor group has to write these resolutions and be sure that the materials are complete. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All right.
Muted. Okay, this concludes the public review session for October 6, 2020, 2 p.m. We will now commence with the public hearing for October 6, 2020, 2 p.m. session. The first case to be discussed, new case, appeals calendar, 2020-46A, 12-14 East 48th Street, Manhattan.
And we have Ms. Carson already in the room, so you unmute yourself and state your name.
Hi, a little surprised we don't have an image there, but
It's okay.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We're sorry not to see you, but I'm working on it at the moment.
There we go. All right, we're all here.
Good.
Very nice to see all of you. It's been quite some time since I've done so, and I'm very happy to see all of you healthy and smiling. On my left, your right, is James Gabriel, who's the principal of 1248 Associates, and on my right is Anthony Rinaldi, who is the principal of the Rinaldi Group, the contractor. We heard the statement.
Actually, Ms. Carson, I don't know if that's a live image of your office, but I think you have to flip it. Oh, I see. It's a teeny image of your office. Okay. Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
This is all at the back.
I'm gonna increase the speaker view. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. But you can hear me, and that's all that I think matters here. We listened to the board's review session on this matter. It appeared to us that there were no further questions about the application. And if that is the case, I'd like to ask that the board close the hearing. And I don't know that if it's possible, we would like to ask that you vote on it today.
Right, so you haven't been here since we started these Zoom hearings, I don't think, but we're not able to do closed votes during this. So
Okay.
as I mentioned, just about the previous application we discussed at the review session, we need now to give extra time to our counsel's office to be sure that all the materials are in order before they release the decision. So, but I don't think anyone had any questions, and I do want to make sure that we move that prior case into our record. So before we actually vote, the record is complete, right? To take judicial notice as Ms. Carson requested. And so any comments from commissioners? Sorry. No. Okay. So then I think so we need to ask for members of the public. Anyone from the public like to speak on this?
2020-46A, 12-14 East 48th Street, Manhattan.
So there are a number of people in the kind of waiting room, for lack of a better word. Some of them I recognize. So the people who are on the Zoom call, if anyone would like to speak to this, you have to raise your Zoom hand. If you've called in to speak about this, there are 2 numbers that called in. Then you dial *9 on your phone, and that will raise your hand and will allow you to speak. Otherwise, we'll give it a couple of maybe 20 seconds because you can hear us. And meanwhile, we're also asking for anyone from the public who's listening on Zoom, on YouTube, I mean, to call 646-558-8656. And the passcode is 990-4349-3891 #. And this is about 12-14 East 48th Street in Manhattan. Okay. Again, anybody who's in the Zoom waiting room who wants to speak, it's either *9 or raise your hand, your Zoom hand. Okay. I'm not seeing anything, right, Kurt?
No.
Okay. All right, then. So I would like, there's no submission. I'd like to make a motion to close then.
Chair Perlmutter,
Hi.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Thank you, commissioners.
The next item is zoning calendar, continued hearing item 2018-137BZ, 251-77 Jericho Turnpike, Queens.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Stay on.
there you go. Mr. Paletnik, he's on the phone, I think.
Elise is there, though.
Yeah.
He'll be on in a second, sorry.
Okay, you have to
Turn YouTube.
Your YouTube videos are on. You need to turn them off. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Palatnik. It says error.
Hello.
Change of name.
Good afternoon again.
Wait. Okay, Elise and Dina, is it Dina, one of your people, and Morgan?
Yeah, can you name who the people are, please, on your team?
It should be Eric Palatnik, Dina Kleinhardt, and Elise Foladair.
Okay, we have everybody.
There's someone named Morgan Carp. I don't know who that is.
Oh, yes, and Miss Carp.
Okay.
That person's part of your team as well?
Yes, but
Okay, could
doesn't
you all
sound like-
unmute? Okay, could you all unmute yourself so I can swear you in? Ms. Clamart?
I don't know if she'll need to speak if you want to go one by one. It sounds like she might not need to testify.
Okay.
Here to, everyone raise their hand and then just say yes, and then we're done, right?
Okay.
And Mr. Sora,
Raise your right hand. I'm sorry. Madam Chair, go ahead.
no, I see also Umesh Somra. Is he on your team?
Yeah, so Umesh did the traffic. She was standing by for the traffic in case there was a traffic problem.
Okay. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm that, I'm sorry. Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and respond honestly to all member questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Please state your name for the record, Mr. Platnick, and proceed.
Eric Palatnik, and I'd like to stand on the review session comments. I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Thank you for taking it so far. It did end up in a very well-designed project, and we appreciate all the input, and I'm glad you were pleased with everything.
Okay, yes. Still a weird building, but nonetheless, okay. I think that's the one that's still a weird one. Yeah. Is this the one that's still a weird one? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So then we need to hear from members of the public. We have some people in the waiting room.
This is 2018-137BZ, 251-77 Jericho Turnpike, Queens.
Phone number 831, if you would like to speak, please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm not, I think. So 831, please turn off your YouTube video. We have incredible feedback. I feel like I'm in the 2001 A Space Odyssey. Please turn off, I'm gonna have to mute you. Please turn off your YouTube video and state your name when you are ready to speak. Phone number 831. Do you wish to testify on this case?
Once again, this is 2018-137BZ, 251-77 Union Turnpike. This is a daycare.
They hung up.
Okay, so maybe it's not theirs.
They hung up or fell off. Okay, I just want to give another opportunity because we're ready. We've heard a lot of testimony on this case over many hearings. So just to give a chance to anybody, member of the public who's listening on this case on the YouTube, if you want to give testimony, please dial 646-558-8656. It's the number displayed on your screen, and the passcode is 990. When I say passcode, that's the number you need to dial on your phone, 990-4349-3891 #. And we'll just give it a few more seconds, see if anyone actually jumps in. We do have an 831. Is that the same number or is it a different number?
It's the same number.
All right, I'm going to try to allow that person to talk again. Phone number 831. If you can hear, please state your name. Phone number 831, please state your name. Someone with the last 3 digits, 831. You've dialed into a Zoom call for the Board of Standards and Appeals, and we are looking at Jericho Turnpike application. If you would like to speak to that, it's 251-77 Jericho Turnpike. If you want to speak to that, please dial *6 to unmute yourself. There you go. And state your name.
Dinah Clammerts.
And what case are you calling about?
251 Jericho Turnpike.
There you go. Okay, so what would you like to say?
Hold on, Dinah's with us. Dinah, It's your attorney, Eric. You don't need to say anything. You probably might be mixed up, but you don't need to testify if you don't want to.
I understand.
You can. Okay.
Okay, so she's part of your team, actually, more than part of your team. She's your client.
I think she got mixed up dialing in, and she's jumping in midway, I think. So that's why I'm advising her of that. But she can speak if she wants. She's very knowledgeable, and she's great. She did the whole thing.
No, actually, old admonition is silence while you're ahead. So I would say we're ready to close this since there's no members of the public who wanted to speak, okay? Other than team members. So
I just wanted to clarify if they could submit the final EAS with all sign-offs, since we just got the DOT sign-off, the plans and the commitment letter in it. That would be helpful.
Okay, so the plan with the plans the final EAS with the plans and the commitment letter.
Right. And the notes haven't been added to the plans yet. So once we do the notes.
Okay, so Mr. Palatnik or whoever, if you have your architect here, how much time to add to make those changes to the plans in the EAS?
We could do that within a day, so very quickly.
Okay, so, all right, so I'm just gonna say needs 1 week. And I'll try to, I don't know if I can accommodate you on the next hearing. It's a very full hearing, but the one after that, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to close. I have everything right, Tracy?
Yes.
Yes, so it's a close on condition, of course, and the condition is the terms of the transportation monitoring commitment. And so our council should be just copying to the extent relevant the terms of that commitment letter into the resolution, okay? Motion to close on condition.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much and for bringing your whole team. Eric, you're muted, so.
Item
Thank
number
you.
20, item number 27, 2019-15 BZ, 7940 Cooper Avenue, Queens. This is the office of Ackerman, Frank St. Jacques.
Hello, Frank St. Jacques from Ackerman LLP for the applicant.
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
Again, Frank St. Jacques, Ackerman LLP for the applicant. We heard this afternoon's review session comments and are available to answer any questions as needed. I will ask the architect to make a change to the note on, I believe it's P006 with respect to the location of the fence in relation to the property line. But besides that, as far as I can tell, we should have provided everything needed, and we can make that change very quickly.
Okay. And I just want to check with Ms. Benke. Is there anything outstanding?
I actually had the same comment for this application. If the applicant could just add the DOT sign-off letter and commitment letter to the final EAS for the record.
Yes, we can do that.
And
We
plans.
received the sign-off letter today. The plans in the EAS are the most, oh, sorry. Yes, we will add the updated plans to the EAS along with the sign-off letter and the commitment letter.
And the notes.
Okay.
So,
So the
sorry,
notes,
what was,
all the notes are already on the drawings with the exception of the correction of that strange fence notes, correct?
Well, they did add one note, I believe, to the site plan at DOT's request, which would be a change if you want to explain that, Frank, or.
so it's with respect to the site plan prepared by Bowler Engineering that was provided at a full-size scale for DOT, which is also incorporated into the EAS. As it appears on the BSA set, it's cropped a bit. So that change that was made on that larger full scale Bowler Engineering site plan doesn't actually appear. That change that was made, I guess, on Friday afternoon or Monday morning doesn't actually appear on the BSA set.
Okay.
So the only change that would be made is with respect to that note regarding the location of the fence and the roof of the second floor.
Wait a second, I'm confused.
Okay, let me get the letter. Hold on.
I thought the plans were revised to respond to DOT comments, right? They were. So should all the drawings that have a site plan on them should in the BSA set and this enlarged set, that's really a DOT set, they need to look the same.
So, okay, we'll ask that we'll make that happen.
Okay. So you'll revise the, whichever set it is, the BSA set and or the DOT set, so they look like each other. Okay.
Correct. There'll be the site plan on the BSA set will include slightly more, or the entirety of the site plan that was prepared for DOT. It's a portion of the northern side of Cooper Avenue that was cropped off in the BSA set, but that will be included in the revision.
Okay, good. All right. So then, first I'm going to ask the public to call in on this, and in the process, we can go over timing. So again, this is what happened?
This is 2019-15 BZ, 7940 Cooper Avenue, Queens.
Okay, and so if you're listening to this on the YouTube and you would like to speak on this application, please call 646-558-8656. And you're going to put in the webinar ID number 990-4349-3891 #. There are some people. There's somebody named James Coakley who I don't recognize in the attendees list. Is that person registered?
Madam Chair, James Coakley is the applicant.
Oh, that's the applicant. Okay. So I'm going to allow him to talk if he wants to, but we're actually just going to be probably closing this because it's just details now. So, okay. So how much time do you need to make those changes to the drawings and the EAS?
We can make those within a couple days.
Okay. All right. Great. All right then. So seeing nobody calling in, I'd like to make a motion to close.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, next item is number 28, 2019-191BZ, 1485 East 21st Street, Brooklyn. This is the law office of Lyra Altman.
Okay. I don't see her here. This might be a time to call her if she has a registration number.
Okay.
She's in the waiting room.
Oh, she is? Oh, she wasn't before. Attendees. Oh, there we go. All right. Ms. Altman is now admitted. Unmute yourself, please, and state your name.
Good afternoon, Lyra Altman from the law office of Lyra Altman.
Hi.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board? And to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Oh, there we
Turn
go.
off your YouTube.
Ms. Altman is now admitted. Unmute yourself, please, and state your name.
Someone turn off the YouTube.
Turn off your YouTube. It's only her. Okay. Okay, proceed.
Good afternoon. I heard what you had to say at executive session and we stand on the record.
Okay, nothing like standing on the record. Okay, so I'd like to invite members of the public to speak on this application. So if we could switch the view to public. So this is application for 1485 East 21st Street in Brooklyn. If you're watching this case on YouTube and would like to speak on it, please dial 646-558-8656. And at the Ms. Altman, please mute your phone yourself, or I'm going to mute you. Okay. 646-558-8656 to dial into our webinar, and webinar ID number at the prompt 990-4349-3891 #. Okay. Let's give it a little bit. But other than that, I don't think we have anyone calling in. Right? No.
Right.
Okay. So I think there's been enough time. So I would like to make a motion to close, no conditions, and just alerting again council to copy paste effectively that section that I read in the review session into the resolution. Motion to close.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shibeta.
Aye.
Okay. Application is closed. We'll let you know for the decision.
Thank you very much.
Here, take care.
There's no submissions.
Yeah, no submissions. New case, item number 29, 2020 18BZ, 920 Shore Boulevard, Brooklyn.
Okay. Ms. Fullader, I think,
Eric is coming in, as well as the architect, Joel Mealy. He said he got lost a connection. I tried to send him the phone number.
okay. But just as a warning to Mr. Palatnik, who just dialed in, we're not going to take much in the way of testimony on this. I think the board is pretty clear. So I'm just going to change his name though, because it just says Eric.
Mr. Hassan is the owner, correct?
Yes.
Madam Chair, Councilmember Chaim Deutsch is also in the.
I see. Okay. All right, you need to be sworn in. Yeah, Mr. Ruffin? Oh, right, I had asked him to reach out to the community board. Go ahead.
So I called, no one answered, and I left an email, so I haven't got a response yet.
Tell Joel to dial in. Is he getting in on Zoom?
Let me know when you want to swear in.
We can do it. We can swear it in now. We can't wait for.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony
Yeah, I'm
before
on
this
the
board,
hearing.
and to respond
Don't get in.
honestly to board member
They're
questions?
gonna block him, so.
Yes.
I just muted you, so I don't want to hear your telephone conversations, okay?
He said yes. Down hand together.
Okay. So unmute yourself
Okay.
and proceed, but understand that we're not going to listen to a big, long diatribe. The board has responded to the application with dismay and is not sympathetic to this application.
I understand that, and I thank you making time for myself and for the councilman, Chaim Deutsch, who stands behind the community board. I know you're anxious to learn their support. They're virtually unanimous support for the application, as well as the 8 people that are the neighbors, immediate neighbors. I'd also like to correct the record. There was a lie that was made at the beginning of this review session, where there's a letter written to you by a party. I forget the name of the person who authored the letter, who said that they heard me at a public hearing that was on recording, that the councilman's office was on, that the community board's office is on. And I believe they said something that I made a statement to the effect of a truck hitting the property. And that's a lie. I never said that. You cannot find anything that says that I said that. And that actually set the stage of that whole review session, I heard, even further than threw more gasoline on a fire that was already burning. So we do accept responsibility for the fact that the contractor made a bad decision to continue going in the winter when the wall came down that they should have kept. And we do acknowledge that, and acknowledge that that should have been, at that time, corrected. Well, the owner paid the price for that. The job was stopped, and he's had to go back to the beginning of the process. And that's what he's done. He's gone back to the beginning of the process. He's not asking now to be forgiven for what he did before. He's accepting the fact that he had a stop work order, and that what the decision the contractor made was wrong, and his punishment was to have his permit revoked and his BSA rescinded. And even a felon gets the opportunity to redeem themselves via future parole actions in good faith. And he's done the good faith by going back and meeting with the community board, gaining full support, meeting with his neighbors, getting 8 people immediately surrounding him in support, and meeting with Chaim Deutsch, a very well-respected, outspoken council person, and gaining their support. And he has done that because he's a good neighbor. I don't believe that Ms. Barron represents everybody in the community, and I think I could let others speak to that. Now, I know your board is upset and frustrated, and rightfully so. He's designed the building this way because this really is the design he wants. Joel Mealy is on the phone. He's the project architect. We'd like for him to testify. It does comply with Appendix G of the flood zone right now. It complies with all zoning requirements.
Wait, does it, stop. Does it comply with Appendix G as new construction where the cellar is filled in and the building is raised to the height that's required of new construction?
I don't know if Joel Mealy is on the phone.
Yes.
Okay, there.
Well, then was it filed as
100%.
Why was it filed as an
Madam Chair, Mr. Mealy needs to be
sworn in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. Joel, I have to swear you in. Do you affirm to tell it? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes.
Please proceed and answer the question of the chair.
No, but I want to know, my question is this: why was the building filed as an alteration when it's a tear down new construction? And was it filed as a substantial improvement, new construction that complies as a complete new building?
Okay, so based upon a relatively new building department
Excuse me,
decision.
Mr. Mealy, do you have your YouTube on?
Excuse me?
Turn your YouTube off. Somebody's got their YouTube on.
Oh, turn that off, please. Okay, I'm sorry. As I was saying, based upon a relatively recent building department decision, any building that is existing, even a tear down, can be filed as an alteration. This one isn't a tear down, but I just wanted to be clear that you don't have to be a new building if you tear down most, maybe even 100%, almost 100% of an existing building. There's only a requirement to retain a certain amount, and it's based upon floors you're either pulling out or not pulling out. There's a memo.
What was left of your existing building when Commissioner Otley Brown drove by, took pictures, and saw not one stick of the existing building?
Okay, well, I don't know what Commissioner Brown took pictures of, but I can speak confidently that there were existing walls still remaining.
We don't have photographs to support that. Sorry.
Well, did you take photographs of?
Mr. Mealy,
Yep.
I don't want this to go on a long time because let's just say this is one of the most disagreeable applications we've seen of the 73-622s, where from the beginning we suspected this project and everything that we suspected was borne out. And we're always told by applicant counsel, oh, it's not fair to suspect that there's going to be wrongdoing after the fact. That's not even allowed under the law. Well, when it's proven and we have to set aside our suspicions, but then it's proven out, it's very, very hard to walk this back. Okay.
I can't speak to the original application. I wasn't the original applicant as,
Well, that's also convenient, right? So who was the architect of record at the time? You were not, right?
correct.
So this is the other part of it. And so I don't even want to get Mr. Mealy involved in this, because the real issue was at the time that the building was being demolished, the architect and the owner and the contractor and anyone else, the idea of blaming it on the contractor is a little bit shocking to me, because you have an architect of record and an owner who walked in knowing full well that the terms of the approval with community watching was that a demolition of more walls than are shown on the drawings would void the special permit. And then they went ahead and they did it, and they never ever came back to the board and said, oh, we have a serious problem, we have to do this thing, we're not sure how to handle it because there's a condition on the grant. None of that was done. So as far as I'm concerned, this was a bad act on the part of all actors, including the owner. And so there's no excuse for this. And I actually don't want to hear any more testimony. I don't think the other commissioners do either. So I would like to, yeah, Tony, go ahead.
I think Carlos said that Councilmember Deutsch was on the line.
That's not testimony. And I just want to remind Councilmember Deutsch, he's not a member of this team. He's a council member elected to represent his district. And we've unfortunately heard testimony in other cases where council members forget that they're not members of the applicant's team. Okay, so I'm going to invite the public to speak on this. And Councilmember Deutsch, since he's already in the waiting room, please join in.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, I'm hearing the back and forth, and I hear what you're saying. You're speaking about a bad actor, and you know, I think that a lot of projects that go through the BSA, I've been hearing the same type of conversations going back and forth, where in some cases that the project, you know, ended up getting approved. But again, to me, it's important to keep people living in their neighborhoods that they grew up and to accommodate their needs to keep families here. And again, you know, when you look at a project in a different neighborhood, a different make, and you know, then I would probably have a different opinion on it. But in Manhattan Beach, most of the homes are very large one-family homes. And considering the climate also that I take into consideration of what's happening here in New York City, we already had 400,000 people that have already moved out of New York. And I want to keep it, I don't want to have 400,001 that would include Mr. Hassan. And Mr. Hassan is a well-respected person who holds down the Fort Manhattan Beach. He is involved in many organizations. He runs a patrol in Manhattan Beach, and he's like the go-to guy for many people, you know, to ensure that their quality of lives continue to be improved. And I also take into consideration the immediate neighbors who support this project. And I've heard some opposition, and some of the opposition, I know that, you know, I've heard, I'm not talking about Judy, but some others, maybe one or two, who are considering moving out of New York City to go to Florida. So this is like a last dib to speak about a project, to oppose a project. But again, I think that keeping people in their neighborhoods and giving them another shot at what their needs are. And I'm not familiar the back and forth of what transpired between the inspector going down there and on all these discussions that just happened. But I look at the end result, and the end result is that if this permit is granted, it's not going to look too much different than many other homes in Manhattan Beach. And we need to keep people here in the city. We need to continue keeping families here in New York City. And I don't like to see people in my district, you know, fleeing out of our city like we have seen in many other places in the borough. So I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak for this project, and I support it. And I just want to wish everyone, the commissioners and the chair, continue to stay safe. And it's great to hear everyone's voices. And it's been a long haul, and you know, we've been going through extremely trying times. And just on another note, nothing to do with this project. Tonight I'm having my first movie night, drive-in movie, where I'm having kids come out of their homes where the schools were shut down in many areas, and enjoying the outdoors in a safe manner. So that's where I'm running to now. But I just want to say thank you all very much for all the work you do, and I support this project.
Thank you for your testimony. Just want to point out that this is an almost 6,000 square foot as of right house of zoning floor area, and that the attic, as we know, is often used in addition to that. So I think you get up to close to 7,500 square feet without the benefit of this special permit. That's bigger than most houses in America. And actually, I remember a long time ago, I think in association with this application or another one, did a study on the sizes of houses in America, and the 6,000 to 7,000 square foot house fell way over the line of the average American household. So anyway.
No, I appreciate it. Chair, I just want to mention one other thing, that not too far from where I live, there's a house being built on like 3-4 property lines, and real estate value all around, because people are leaving New York City, and that's a fact. Real estate value is going down for many, and when people see a house being built, and when you're saying that it's you have larger square footage than a normal house that goes through a special permit in the BSA, I think it's comforting also for many to say, wow, people are still staying here in New York City. And I think it's comforting for many, because everyone is like confused. People are scared. People don't know what the future holds. And I think that at this time, in this climate, I think it's a good thing. You know, maybe before March or maybe back in January, I would have made a different decision. But I think that it's comforting, and I think that's what's important, that families continue to stay here in Southern Brooklyn. Families continue to stay here in New York City. And many of my friends are just like moving out. They're moving to Jersey, they're moving to other parts, you know, out of New York City, just fleeing. And, you know, seeing an application where it shows a family who wants to stay here, who wants to stay in Brooklyn. I mean, I would tell Mr. Hassan that maybe he's crazy for building such a large house, because I don't know how long he's going to stay here. But to me, it's comforting, and I don't live anywhere near there. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Of course, zoning actions can accomplish this, and you know, that's worth looking at.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
That's why you're here.
No, I mean actual zoning actions through City Planning Commission rezoning districts. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
I don't see any other testimony. We opened this up to testimony, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And nobody else has called in.
Okay, so if I don't have any objections from council or from the commissioners, I would like to close this.
I do have a quick question. There was a photo of the site. Would the board like to see that on the screen, or?
Oh,
that?
a photo of the site.
I'll
Sure,
just-
whatever it is you have. I don't know what it is. Oh, that's the photograph that was provided by who, Commissioner Otley Brown, or?
Yes.
Yes, so this was the site that the commissioner photograph she took when she observed the total demolition way back in last year, about exactly a year ago, right? So that, yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
August 2019, somewhere around there.
Okay. So, so if no one has any objections, I would like to close this hearing.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta, Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Just a
Okay.
quick,
Oh,
Yeah.
we just close into, for decision, nothing else further with this case, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Okay, I just want to make sure there's no submission, anything to
Here,
specs.
right.
Well, if I may, Madam Chair, we may want to withdraw the application, so. if
Oh,
you agree with that,
that's your prerogative.
We
Okay.
may withdraw. All right, well, thank you very much. We wish you didn't close the record so quickly, but thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
this concludes the public hearing for October 6, 2020, 2 p.m. session.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you,
See
everyone.
you, everyone.
Have a good rest of week and so on.